marketing and propaganda taken to the nth degree changes the culture of a country. So that's how powerful it can be, especially if you're the only voice.
The client's going to say, you're the expert, you decide.
Yeah.
Triggered.
Yeah, triggered.
Spasm. Our guest today is Vernon Lim, a community builder and brand strategist who works with groups of companies for the last 5 years. Thank you for joining us on this show. Welcome.
Hi, hey Josh, Lionel, hey, thanks. It's a great pleasure to be here. Always fun to be able to come to a platform and share our ideas with all these great people.
We love hearing your stories. We give you crap for it. In fact, a lot of them make me roll eyes and make me credulous with the kind of stuff that you have to go through and during the course of your work. But there's always something that I can learn from those stories. And maybe you can share a little bit more about some of the more interesting things that have been going on.
Stories are, in fact, sense-making mechanisms. We tell you there are 3 pigs, 3 houses, and 1 wolf, then you're not going to remember this information, right? But if you weave the thing into a story, and one of the houses is made of straw and wood, and the other one is made of bricks, and there's a wolf and blows and stuff like that, then you remember exactly how many pigs, how many houses, and how many wolves, right? So stories are sense-making mechanisms. When we go out there, we have an information overload, we have overstimulation, we have all these things going on. So stories are actually what help individuals and companies and businesses actually help their target market, their stakeholders, their clients and their customers make sense of what's going on. So that's why stories are important. And that's why whenever I try to communicate things, I try my best to put inside a story, wrap it into a story sandwich and pass it out there.
So what's your story?
I came out, I did sales trainer, went into marketing, helped my clients. My students came from my classes, thought that I was doing something that makes sense, engaged me as a marketing guy, did marketing, realized that when you market something that is not well branded, is an issue, became a branding guy, then realized that the branding output, right, needed a better business strategy. If not, the branding also didn't work. So eventually went to business growth consulting. Then realized that consulting has limitations because you're within a specific space. Then became an advisor, sort of advice. So I went from essentially writing ads to writing mission and vision statements for companies and communities. That's how I find myself today. So what do I do, right? I work with my clients to build communities within their brands or under their brands. I help their brands make sense of what they are about so that their stakeholders, when they're doing fundraising, when they are pitching for projects, when they're going for tenders, it makes better sense. And they are more likely to be successful with the objective. Because when you are clear with your objective and your strategy, resources tend to attract and flow towards you.
We want to see if we can address this today, branding versus marketing, and see if you, in your experience, right, how would you best explain the difference between the two?
So marketing, the original term is propaganda. Propaganda had a real bad rap because of World War II, and of course his Ministry of Propaganda, by the way. When they went on, they had to change the word propaganda to marketing. So propaganda comes from the root word propagation, or to propagate, and propagate is a verb to do something. It's to spread a message.
When you mention propaganda, what comes to mind for me is the Cultural Revolution. It's like propaganda taken to the degree where it changes culture.
Absolutely. That is definitely propaganda to the nth degree with immense resources. Now, if you look at it at our country level, let's imagine how much reach and resources that our government have at their disposal to spread the concept or to propagate the message of circuit breaker during COVID. They could do it instantly, right? Immediately everybody know what is circuit breaker. Immediately everybody know when you can wear masks, when you cannot wear masks. The message could spread perfectly and instantly. Why? Because they have a huge communication machinery. So when people ask a question like, how much resources do you need for marketing? Actually, it depends on what resources you have and how to be intelligent about it. Could they have gotten their messages mixed up? Of course. You don't plan it well and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's a good point, right? So marketing and propaganda taken to the nth degree changes the culture of a country. So that's how powerful it can be, right? Especially if you're the only voice. But of course, in business, we're not the only voice.
So that's marketing, right?
That's marketing. So it's marketing, propagation of a message. Marketing. Now, let's understand branding. Branding, interestingly, originated in the cattle industry where this guy raised really good cattle. Then end up, people start buying cows from him because his cow is great, right? People started to misrepresent his cows. People start to tell him like this is also from his shop, this is also from his ranch or wherever. Then he realized that I need to mark my cows that is mine. So he heated a brand of iron and then put the iron on the cow and then he branded the cow. And that is the beginning of branding. So that's the logo, right? Probably just when logo started anyway.
Yeah, except that when you do it on a cow, you can't make that logo bigger.
Yeah, yeah, and very hard to do rebranding. Yeah. So every time people recognize that brand on that cattle, people assume it's a mark of quality. So that item, the emblem, that's a brand logo, a brand mark, or a brand, right? But branding is actually a process. So if you look at what exactly are the points of a brand, that means what are you known for, what do you stand for, what emotions do you trigger, what do people think of when they hear any emblems of your brand, then they will have a particular feeling, emotion, or impression. So the good way to understand branding is a reputation building or reputation design. Now all of us have a reputation for sure. The question is it a reputation by design or is it a reputation by accident? So we all have a reputation, we all have a brand, right? People form impressions of us, and how do you do that? That's basically the main difference. Put into a story, okay? Going for a tailor, selecting a suit, what kind of image you want to create, what kind of event you're going for, what kind of impression you want to create, that's the tailor part. That's the material selection, the color, the cut, and stuff like that. That's branding, selection and design. And of course, the building of the suit, right? Getting your message out there, now that's getting you out there in the right event, going to the right place, meeting the right kind of people that you want.
Recently, there was this whole Apple ad that was being done on the iPad.
If you guys have seen it, I'm like, oh my God.
Apple's a great brand, no denying that. But the impression it gave me when they did a marketing message is that they're crushing our creativity into a flat tablet.
Especially with AI going around now, and it's like
Yeah.
so wrongly timed.
I would say that when they decide to design the brand message, that was the problem. Now, if you look at the marketing, which is the channels that they use to get the message out there, I would say it's really effective. You know why? Because in less than 12 hours of that message going live, we all
Everyone's
have
talking
seen
about
it. So marketing, number one, right? Now, was that video well shot and well produced? Yes. It was no, technically,
It was.
technically well-produced video, the lighting, contrast, the
Sure.
color grading, perfect, beautiful. But the message, which is the brand message design, it didn't cover all grounds. You know, they missed out some stakeholders, couldn't see things from all the perspectives. But this is very un-iconic of Apple, I got to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apple normally don't make this kind of boo-boo.
Lionel, you can share a little bit more from your perspective because you do a lot of this kind of thing. You frame the concept of that marketing message, from that brand brief.
They'll like come to us and say, hey, Lionel, I want to do a video. I want to do a photo shoot, all things like that, right? And then be like, okay, sure. Okay, then we ask, what is your strategy? What's your branding about? No, I just want to do a video. Then I'm like, okay, maybe you need to meet someone like Vernon, for example, to have a longer conversation with them and to figure out what exactly the branding positioning they want to take, the strategy they want to take before doing the video. If not, yeah, it could come out like a Apple video. I could shoot videos like that, sure.
Fit the brief, but not the outcome that you want.
Absolutely.
Or you achieve the reaction that you want to get. Because basically, the marketing is supposed to achieve a reaction so that from that, they will want to go out and get the thing.
Broadly, there are two things, right? There is about driving an action or creating an impression. Not all marketing materials actually drive an action point. I mean, if you go Dhoby Ghaut MRT, right, you can see all those like Apple ads on the huge screens at the top. It has almost no words. It has just pictures of the iPhone just there. They never tell you to buy it. They never list a price. Nothing. Just iPhone pictures. There was even one case where they just show portraits shot by iPhones, and it's just all portraits shot on the iPhone, shot on the iPhone, shot on the iPhone. They're trying to send you a message, right?
Yeah.
The camera is really good.
I think one of the most successful campaigns, which was turning the conversation of the Apple Watch, which is that kind of cool device you have on your
I
hand,
understand this. I know this.
cool into a life-saving device. To me, that's like brilliant.
That is really brilliant because I think for that ad, they even put a numbers, right? Number of lives saved by this smartwatch.
One of my relatives in the US was actually saved by the device because it detected that she had AFib during that point of time. She went and then checked it out, and then if it wasn't for the Apple Watch, she wouldn't have known and she wouldn't have taken early action to solve it. But fun story. It actually is true.
Believe it or not, brand stories can be true. Not all brand stories are
Yeah, not
fabricated.
manufactured
Not
or-
manufactured, right? So you see, that's a great example. You see, because Apple, as a brand, they have their narrative. For this product, they have selected one message. Our device saves lives. That is how they want to be differentiated from other wearable tech. And there are a bazillion wearable techs out there, and the price is a fraction. Literally 10% of Apple's product price for other wearables. How to differentiate yourself? Oh, Apple watches save lives. Other people's devices measures your steps, monitors your sleep patterns, whatever. But Apple Watch does all these things as well.
Yeah.
But because of Apple's technology, Apple's software, Apple's consistency, Apple's everything, it actually all works together to save life, prevent deaths.
Yeah.
So that's a message. Then they went on to do the marketing, which is the video and getting it out there and got on all the channels and stuff like that.
New businesses that are about 5 years or less old, they don't
Right.
really have a very strong brand.
Yeah.
How would a business use marketing to do that?
Okay.
To reinforce the brand message that they hope to communicate.
What I will do, number one, I will first decide on a pain that society has or a target market has. And I look at it and I see whether would I want to be known as a specialist in solving that pain. So when I first started, the pain that I wanted to solve, believe it or not, is employability. I wanted to help Singaporeans become more employable. So I wanted to teach them interview skills and I wanted to teach them how to sell better. That was what I wanted. So there was a market that I wanted to serve, and therefore I decided to then become a sales trainer, stuff like that. You have to find out what you're willing to go through to be unique in that space. I don't have a certification. I don't have a specialization. I don't have a unique skill. So I went to learn neuro-linguistic programming. It's a certification, and now I have a unique differentiation. So when I do my sales training is powered by this set of skill set called the neuro-linguistic programming, which is a framework of communication and personal mastery. So that makes me different. So because I have this differentiation, and this differentiation actually helps me to communicate my value proposition better, then therefore I develop this space. There is absolutely no point of selling 100 plus in a place where everybody else is also selling 100 plus. Then you start to talk about your unique selling point, your value proposition in your communication on your website or marketing materials. So once you get this thing done up, then you're ready for market. When you go into the marketplace, you don't have your unique value proposition, you don't have your target market. What's going to happen is that you're not going to attract the right people. And please be very clear. Do not confuse what you want to do versus what you can do. So many people out there want to do everything because they want to build. But that does not mean that they are necessarily the best person to do it. So this, in the business world, the clients and the prospects are savvy about this. When you don't have a track record, or when you don't have a proven case study, when you don't have the delivered results, people are not really very likely to engage you. Then of course, the next question that commonly always get is what? What if I got no track record, Vernon? That's very simple. Do stuff for free, okay? Because you see, right, you have to appreciate what people are buying here. People are not buying what you claim you can do. People are trying to determine whether their investment can have a return and does it respond well to the risk. So when I first started again, I remember my first business partner or boss or trainer that I worked with, I was really eager to learn telemarketing as a skill because I thought influencing over the phone is really important. So what I went to him, I said, hey, bro, I will work for you. I don't have any contacts, but you give me a name list. I will call everybody. You don't pay me anything. You only pay me when I secure appointments for you, and I will do one confirmation text or call to them to make sure that they come for the meeting. Now, if you are my boss, what are you going to say to this guy? On, man. Why? Because firstly, I'm performance-based. What's the risk to you? Nothing. And I only asked him to pay me $10 per appointment setting. I wasn't really focused on making the money. I was focusing on somebody giving me leads, somebody giving me an opportunity to practice my skill. These are all more valuable to me than the $7 per hour that this guy is going to pay me. And then I don't work on performance-based, and he's not going to be sure whether I make the phone call, and the whole relationship just doesn't work. So if you come to me and says, I got no experience, all I need is an opportunity, can you let me try something? Can you just pay me this lowball price or I'll do it for you for free? You're getting a track record. You're getting experience. You're getting training. You're getting exposure. You're going to fail for first couple of ones, but then you get 3 successful cases, right? Your fourth person will look at your 3 successful cases. I think this guy is onto something. I'm willing to pay him a professional fee.
I was working for a company that was doing events previously. Throughout the years that I was there, they knew I held a camera as well. So that's when I was like, okay, Lionel, can you shoot this event for me and shoot this event for me? So the boss didn't have to pay for event photography.
Yeah.
In-house free, right?
Yes.
I have my main job, this is my
Double
side.
hatting.
But if I look at it positively, it was also a chance for me to build a portfolio, right? And now I'm not even moonlighting. I'm actually doing something that I love and I like.
Yep.
And then I could still build a portfolio at the same time.
So let's just imagine, let's exaggerate here, okay? I am a heart surgeon and I have done a bazillion heart surgeries. I will definitely charge you a premium because I know what I'm doing. I have touched 1,000 hearts and I have done the 1,000 successful surgeries. Touched 1,000 hearts, yes. When doctors go overseas and they do their mission trips, they don't charge for the surgeries. And the people who are receiving these life-saving surgeries, they're not going to be very picky. What's your experience? Show me your CV. They're just glad to have somebody do the heart surgery, right? And if they don't have the heart surgery, they are going to die anyway. You know what I mean? So having somebody...
What do you have to lose?
What do you have to lose? So that's what I'm trying to say as well. If somebody coming up to you, they know you got no experience, they give you a chance to do something, they're taking a risk, right? But the risk is quite mitigated because they're not paying for it. If you can deliver something good, the second time it's easier for you to talk about getting remuneration. Of all the stuff that I've done for free, I don't think I've ever been really scolded by anybody for failing. It's kind of difficult to scold a guy who is volunteering and doing something for free, right?
So Vernon, I have a question. What's your process in helping the client define their problem statement?
The first thing I start with is with the objective. So he must get the purpose right, get the objective right. Then I must understand his strategy. From the strategy, you will birth the problem statement. In that order. You do not start with, I need a video. My video need to educate people. And then when they educate people, you boost my sales. When they boost my sales, I will be very successful in life. This thought process does not apply in every case.
Yeah, because the trajectory is already wrong. Because
Yes.
your starting point, your angle off already, right? So
Yes.
then this is just amplified.
But when the designers and the videographers and the creative get involved, right, we cannot answer that question. They're going to ask, what's the mood board? What's the look and feel? What's the production value? What's your budget? Who is a celebrity which should be your ambassador? You'll be like, I don't know. What do you think?
The client's going to say, you're the expert, you decide.
Yeah.
Triggered.
Triggered. Yeah, triggered.
Spasm.
So a lack of purpose, lack of objective, lack of strategy does not bode well for the vendors, the executors, and the marketing and branding people. And they cannot help because you're not answering the question, right?
Yeah, correct. Because we are experts at implementation
Yes.
of the solution of the fix,
Yes.
right? But then you are the expert on the problem.
Please ask them to double back down. Ask them to send a brief, write the brief down, sit down and go through some kind of framework so they can articulate it. And from that piece of document, then you can revisit this and say, what do you mean by this? A great example is, now imagine, everybody's watching the podcast now, you're here with me. I say, think of a knife.
Okay.
Do you think we're talking about the same knife, the same shape, the same brand, and the same type of knife?
Probably not, yeah.
Probably not, right? Now, this is just only an example of a knife, you know. Can you imagine at our discussions and our clarity sessions, the amount of miscommunication? I tell you, this is a path to nowhere, okay? Path to a lot of pain, okay? Steve Jobs is well known for saying this. He says that the Japanese do not talk about quality in their marketing, but it is the lived experience of the customers that will then form that opinion and aka brand, aka reputation of that company or that business. So we have to get the consistency right first. Going out there to get a magic website that will sell things for you automatically, or get a video that will inspire everybody to chung to your website and buy all your stock, that is not how it works.
Good, but that's what the clients expect, and that's what they are thinking about, right? You know, that they want this magic thing to solve all their problems. Yeah. You probably have a library, you know, of resources. Maybe you can give one or two of these sources of information for our listeners who want to explore further or want to learn more.
Firstly, I'm a big fan of reading. My recommendation is always books first. And I always use books as a way to test mental resilience. Let me just be very frank with you. If you're not able to go through a book, right, building a business is the least of your problems. Second point is that you do not have a habit of reading. In my view, you are equivalent of an illiterate person. Because a person who do not read and a person that cannot read has no differentiation. If there's one habit you must pick up today as a business person, it's read. Bill Gates says so, Warren Buffett says so, Ray Dalio says so. Anybody that's a billionaire all says reading is a non-negotiable habit of a business person. My recommendation, number one, Start With Why by Simon Sinek. That is a book all marketing, branding, people, anybody that starts a business, definitely to get a crack at it. Start with why. You can watch his TED Talk first online, and then after that read his book to get the details. Second one, my absolute favorite is Donna Miller, Marketing Made Simple. So that is the great guide. There's worksheet, there's boxes to fill, there's frameworks, there's a funnel thing. Explaining marketing made simple, right? If you just take these two books, and it will give you like 60% of the journey already.
How else can the viewers get in touch with you?
So great place to connect, of course, is my website. I would appreciate a connection on LinkedIn as well. So I'm fairly active on LinkedIn. So you can just drop me a DM on LinkedIn and we can have a conversation around that. And of course, you can check out my YouTube channel too. Shameless plug. Yeah. So I have videos on content like this as well up there. So you can check that out. So especially the video on value. Love to meet entrepreneurs, especially entrepreneurs based in Singapore, because to me, entrepreneurs or small and medium enterprise owners, they are job creators. So if they create jobs, they design jobs, they produce jobs, they essentially create value for our economy, they create value for fellow Singaporeans, they actually build our nation. Because when we hire people, we pay CPF, we pay salaries, their CPF and salaries go to pay BTOs and HDBs and condos. In fact, we might not be building the country per se, we for sure are paying for it.
A lot of the information out there is all over the place. and you don't really know what the right one is to go for. So I really appreciate what you did today as far as something solid that they can go for and something they can take home or rather apply to their business. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks, Josh. It's a pleasure.
Hopefully we'll see you back again on another episode. Thanks for coming by. Thanks, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.
See ya.